Moodle working together. But kind of in general, I'm going to speak at this from an enterprise level type of integration. I'm going to use enterprise kind of interchangeably, being both a business enterprise scenario and educational enterprise scenario. And then when we get down to some of the fits, there's enhancements in just the non-enterprise open office integration as well, or the Office Online integration. So kind of if we look at from an enterprise level, one of the first questions that we often get is, where does Moodle fit? We know where Moodle, we know what it does. It does classrooms, it does, we have a pretty good idea of what it is, but how does it fit within the organization? And really Moodle defines itself as pretty much that learning platform. I added the term open onto my definitions. I refer to it as an open learning platform, and that's not synonymous necessarily with open source. We'll see a little bit further down. I'll explain what the difference between the two is. Moodle is open source, but when we talk about data flow and data integration, open takes a little bit of a different perception when it comes to training delivery. It is a single platform, robust and integrated, secure, integrated system. What that means is that much like a classroom, the instructor has the ability to personalize the course environment, and that personalization can be made for the content as well as the learner. The learners can also, within modern Moodle 2.x, and 2.7's brought in some even more powerful conditional release components that truly put the learner a little bit more in control of their environment based on how they work through. But ultimately, it is the instructor or the course developer, teacher, professor, whoever is developing that content, scaffolding that content, putting it together so that it is a true learning environment versus just simply content that could have just as easily be published out on the internet somewhere. Okay, so and when we talk about Moodle and we talk about learning and we talk about where it fits within the different spaces, it is this secure learning environment, this lab type environment to where a set of learners can get access to a course. That course is targeted to them at their level. It usually has Moodle is very good at scaffolding the content, so giving the course developer control to how they present the content. Okay. Now, I oftentimes, when we could be in a blended audience here between different, education, enterprise, government, etc., simply refer to course developers. They're the ones that are putting the content in the course and more or less making the decisions of how the users are going to interact with that content. They may or may not be the ones actually developing the content, though. It may just be simply positioning it within the environment for the maximum effectiveness within the course. As a learner, learners access that exact same environment, and that's one of the critical points within Moodle and LMSs is the content that's presented, that's developed, that's put into the course. It's the same course environment, the same course shell that learners are accessing in order to get access to that content. Moodle does contain grades. Activities are graded, resources are presented.
And again, the only way I get in this course is once I'm actively enrolled, and that can happen in a number of different ways. Okay. Now we're going to focus in on some of that content and the content development, and this is where we'll get into the difference between closed and open learning systems, content delivery systems, but learning specifically. For many years, we've been focused from a course developer, or course developers have been focused on content like SCORM. That some of you may find kind of interesting that I call that a closed package, because SCORM is supposed to be universal. I can probably also hear some of y'all laughing at that statement as well, because universal means is defined differently depending on which package you're bringing that SCORM ultimately into that SCORM package in. But a closed content system is basically one that a developer takes the text, the graphics, the video, they put it all together, and they package it, and they send it out. That's fine. You get great content first go around. If you ever have to make changes, you have to go back to that SCORM package, reopen it, make new positions, resave the content, repackage it, redistribute it. So round trips get to be difficult. Modifications tend to be difficult. As opposed to that, Moodle is more of an open content system, meaning that the text, the graphics, the multimedia come into Moodle as individual pieces. Moodle does support SCORM, ILT, and lots of other packages that you can package learning content into. But Moodle's strength is really allowing those environments to, the Moodle environment to consume content, package it together within the course, and then make it available. Content can be revised at any time directly in the resource or the activity. So if a word's misspelled, click the edit button, jump in, change the word, save it, it's live, and present it out. Okay. Now, if you're in that environment where the teacher truly has 100% of control of everything they do, or the course developer, then that's certainly beneficial. But what we're starting to see more and more is these outside resources are being consumed and brought into Moodle. And these outside resources may be content that is dynamic content, constantly changing. And from an enterprise organization, if we kind of look at who owns that information, it can start as high up as product managers, curriculum guidelines, define kind of what is the content. Stakeholders kind of define, start to talk about, what is the message, how do we want to package, how do we want to deliver it. But ultimately, marketing, training, and educators take that content, the delivery specialist, and tell the story. Now, I refer to oftentimes in these larger enterprises, there's different document trees. There's your first generation document tree. A corporate, be it Microsoft, be it Google, be it some other enterprise solution, is oftentimes going to have an organization pretty much has a good grasp on this first generation document tree. They can share documents back and forth. Today we can collaborate on documents. We can use the single drive for the share. And making round trips in the first generation is pretty routine nowadays. It's the second generation of that document tree that when marketing gets a hold of it, they take it through a whole different set of applications to publicize it out on the web. Your delivery specialist in the training area may take it through Articulate, populated in Moodle. They may put it directly in Moodle. And these round trips are where it starts getting
a little bit more exciting, because now you have content that's gone outside of your corporate solution, and updates become more and more of a challenge. Okay. So recognizing some of that, Microsoft and Remote Learner and got together and looked at some of the open source that was going on with the online, Microsoft Online, some of the existing integrations with Moodle, and really looked to expand that into more of the enterprise mix. So we'll take some peeks at some screenshots here in a minute, but basically the new Microsoft Suite within the enterprise area provides a single sign-on solution, calendar integrations between Moodle calendars back up to your Outlook calendar, OneDrive repositories where content can go from both Moodle uploaded into OneDrive or be downloaded and directly consumed into the Moodle environment. Integration of Office Mix, and a OneNote workflow that is really targeted more toward the consumer online Microsoft, but allows for a OneNote assignment that allows students to complete and submit an assignment with OneNote, and graders or markers to respond, provide feedback through OneNote. And so what that allows is a true one round trip from OneNote into Moodle and back, and you pick up all the advantages of having your response documents available to you at any time in any device. So kind of just another key graphic to kind of compare Moodle and Office 365. Integration of content into courses, primarily through OneDrive, assignments with the OneNote assignments, and feedback in different events through the Outlook. Okay. Okay. So really tightening that integration. Single sign-on, again, just one button access. Now what's fun here is that single sign-on can also exist in your Office 365 app launcher as well. So where you normally find your Office 365 environments can be a tile that clicks directly into Moodle. All right, so we can sit here and look at kind of some of these slides, but let me pull up a live site here so we can go through. So again, my connection's into my OneDrive, and it's going to log me in to Contoso University, which is the one that we have connected there. Now, on this side, I'm actually going to come in and demonstrate some of the OneNote features. Then we'll go over to a teacher side and look at quickly some of the other features. So the OneNote assignment, and it is a true Moodle assignment. It's not a separate assignment. It simply adds the options within the existing Moodle assignment to create a OneNote for both submissions and reply. Now, if I'm, and again, this works with Microsoft Online, so if I'm a student external or a learner external to the environment, then I can get access to Office Online for by simply signing up and get access to OneNote. Okay. Clicking through on the assignment, automatically opens up my Moodle notebook.
where I can come in and see my submission. Now, I was working on this at lunch one day at Freebirds here in College Station. So not only do I have my submission there, but I also have my church words kind of markup and feedback as well. So all those are saved within my normal OneNote online assignment. So kind of a fun integration there. Now I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. I'm going to come out to actually a different site. I'm still logged in with my Office 365 account. And just kind of want to show real quick before we turn it over to Azure and how a lot of this kind of bundles in together. I'm just going to attach a quick file here. Now, you can add files literally. You don't have to go through just a simple assignment. You can bring in content via images, different types of media, etc. You're going to have the same access to the same repositories. So I'll just link this as a file. Now there is a new OneDrive repository. There's actually two different directories within the one file repository now. How this differs from some of the existing is this does integrate with Office 365 for Business. Okay, so then I have access to managing my files in Office 365, and then coming in here and grabbing any of those different types of files that I might want to grab. We'll just grab a quick Word file, and then I can either make a copy or create an alias. Now, I can also upload files directly from this directory as well. And if on the within the OneDrive business application, if there's different rules that I have that run on there, then all of those apply as well. So you see the same basic directory there. Okay. And then I also have a courses file. Now this one isn't actually going into OneDrive. I don't have any files uploaded here yet. This is actually going into, if I can get back, into a team site. So this can be more of a shared environment where different teachers can collaborate on those documents that are shared, and then they can be shared across multiple courses where those teachers are cross-listed and cross-posted, so cross-enrolled. So again, the 365 repository allows you the ability to upload files, download files within a standard file picker here. I have the options of, again, creating an alias, making a copy of the file, making it inherent within Moodle. Through actually embedding a document, I can come into, again, either the repositories, I'll just grab a simple image. Here I can link to the file directly. And of course I'd probably grab the most boring image that I could have. But that kind of then drops that image. Anything that changes back in OneDrive automatically updates the images within the Moodle course. So OneDrive repositories, content in and out. Again, just a simple workflow for OneNote.
Okay. And then Microsoft OpenTech, Remote Learner, committed to evolving the project. Things that are on our radar for improvement here is the improved document embedding, bringing that OneNote assignment integration over into business, and then Office 365 video to bring in that video components as well, multimedia. Now, as you're kind of looking here, I will point out Office Mix is down in the OE Embed plugin. Office Mix allows you to create very powerful multimedia PowerPoint presentations with audio and almost a whiteboard type presentation. Those are simply embedded in by adding the link to any of the text fields. And if the link is there, the OEmbed filter plugin recognizes it as an Office Mix and plays it instead of the link. So it automatically embeds that content. Okay. So kind of really, if you are a Microsoft shop going kind of into that Microsoft area environment, there really is a convincing argument that's kind of evolving here that with the new plugins, you really can control not only that first generation but that second generation tree with content that's automatically updated, automatically deployed into multiple environments, whether it's the consumer, learning consumers down in Moodle, or whether it's the general public consumers out on the web. And you know, the Azure platform, which Mike is going to talk about, really provides a strong, integrated, powerful solution. And Moodle is available off of Azure. Remote Learner, it provides a supported package that provides not only the Moodle platform, but access to Remote Learner support, plugin validations, and all the other services. You know, provides a gateway into all the other different services that we provide, including training and Smart Start, getting your environment up and running. So, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike to talk about Azure, and I'll put mine on hold. And if yep, there we go.
Let me know when you can see my screen, please.
Okay, we can see it.
Okay, great. So my name is Mike Long. I'm an Azure Tech Solutions professional serving U.S. education. I'm going to spend just a few minutes on talk about what Windows Azure is, how it pertains to Moodle, and some things that you might be able to use it for. First question, why do you use the cloud? The cloud can augment your data center. So you can spin up a Moodle instance with a certified VM within Windows Azure and scale that up and down. The nice thing about cloud is you can spin those servers up and down or those services up and down as needed, kind of like a rental car or rental truck. You know, somebody calls and said, hey, can you help me move? Sure. I run down to the rental agency, pick up a truck, go help my friend move, and then turn it back in, and you don't have to pay for the truck. Same with Azure. We're running some very large data centers. There are 19 worldwide in the U.S. We have data centers West Coast, Central is Iowa, Chicago, San Antonio, and then East Coast Virginia. These data centers are roughly the size of two super Walmarts stuck together. They can hose up to 600,000 physical servers in these data centers, roughly $2 billion investment from Microsoft. So we've got these large server farms that are out there available for you to augment your data center. Servicing these is one of the top 3 networks worldwide. Most people don't realize that, but we have one of the and not even being in telecom, one of the fastest networks, and also offering bandwidth capacity to and from these data centers. We have twice as many data centers as Amazon, 6 times as many as Google, and offer one instance, we call it the G series, Godzilla series. That's the largest public node available, 32 cores, almost a terabyte of main memory, and 6.5 terabytes of SSD. In these Azure data centers, 57% of all the Fortune 500 companies are running in Azure. 20 trillion objects are stored there. Last year we surpassed Amazon as the #1 cloud storage vendor. 19 billion authentications per week, so you can do single sign-on to those data centers. Here's a quick snapshot of some of the servers and services that are available: virtual machines, cloud services, websites, storage, database, and we don't have time to get into all of those, but there's of those, for example, in a data center we have 600,000 servers. You can come in and spin up a raw server, an IaaS server, patch everything, do just the same administration that you're doing in your data center, or you could run a PaaS instance where you maintain the application. We do all the patching for you. Or you might just consume something like a SQL database. I don't want to patch the server. I don't want to patch SQL. I don't want to pay for a license. I've got X amount of gigabytes in a database. I want to spin up the database but don't want to do any of the patching, so we will host that for you. Here's a list of improvements that we've made here just in the last year. The slide's a little bit dated, but you can see the tremendous pace at which we're adding new features to this. Here's a quick market slide, and I'll be done with the marketing. But in the top right corner, this is what they call the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Microsoft is recognized in IaaS, PaaS, storage services, and virtualization. In those, that varies from quadrant. Salesforce is in one, Amazon in another, and VMware. In every case, Microsoft is in that top quadrant. So we've got all these servers. How does that help you, the end user? Here's a quick list of 10 different kinds of things that you can do within Windows Azure. So obviously, #1, today's topic is, I want to run Moodle in the cloud. I want to spin that service up as needed, down as needed. And for example, there's no reason hosting a server over the summer break for your summer education. School's out, you can spin that service up the first of the semester and then turn it off and not have to pay for that for the rest of the summer or the Christmas holiday or etc. You only pay for what you use, so spin it up when you're using it. Even spin it down at night. If you're not using it at night, don't pay for it. But of the top 10 workloads that folks are using, #1 is storage, the ability to store my data safely off premises in case I lose my data center in Windows Azure. When folks put data up there, we create 2 additional copies in case we lose a drive. That's actually stored on different drives, different locations of the data center. With a single checkbox, we can create geo-redundant, move that over to another data center over 400 miles away. And in case we lost network connectivity or something crazy like a meteor hit the Chicago suburbs and blew out one of the data centers, you have your data in another location. DR is the second biggest use, so the ability to fail over servers. Azure Site Recovery allows you to monitor the health of your servers in your data center and fail that over to another data center and or Azure. Coming soon will be the ability to spin over VMware images as well. And the third is the ability to burst. One of the things that you hear unique from Microsoft is the ability to run in a hybrid environment. So unlike some of the other cloud vendors bring everything to the cloud, we allow you to run what you're running in your data center, extend your network addresses. So say for example you're running a 10.0.0 network, you can extend your data center IP addresses to Windows Azure, and for your end users, they look like a local network asset, but yet you're accessing those securely. So we allow you to burst over as needed. So when you need additional capacity, for example, at the first of the year, you might have a website where you're handling student registration. That load is going to go off the chart for a week or two. You can come over and augment that service within Windows Azure. That'll scale up for that peak demand, and you don't have to have servers laying around for the rest of the year. Not going through all of these dev and test. The ability to spin up a sandbox machine or a lab machine for some of your student labs. Turn that on at the beginning of the semester. It will auto-scale based on demand. So you could set up, for example, 3 servers as you had additional load spikes. For example, you had a homework assignment that was due. You'll have your students come in and all of a sudden get busy, and you might need 10 servers. It will automatically scale that load up and down, and at nighttime it will scale those down to a minimum threshold that you as IT admin set. So it gives you the ability to spin things up and down as needed. Set up development machines that you can test environments. You could snap an image of your server in your data center, move that over to Windows Azure. Again, we're running the same hardware you are. Take that image, bring that up on new hardware within Windows Azure, do all your development testing, snap that, and bring that back down locally. So, a number of different features there. Security is very important to us. We're FERPA, ISO, PCI, being credit card, HIPAA, health standards, security compliant. We take that very seriously and have a team dedicated 24/7 watching any kind of irregular activity coming into the data center. And lastly, single sign-on, the app directory that Mark talked about a little bit earlier, the ability to single sign, take your directory from your data center and extend that into the cloud for Office 365, Moodle, and some of these other applications. Actually allow your end users to do self-service password reset your capabilities. So again, a few things on Microsoft. It's large data centers in the cloud, augments what you're doing, and as needed you could spin a Moodle service up and spin it down when you don't. So large data centers throughout the world. So that's a quick snapshot of Windows Azure. And Mark, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, and Brian, let me get Brian on here. I don't know if we have any questions, but we'll go ahead and open up for any questions that you might have. And yeah. Mike, I think you're still presenting, so we'll switch back over. Okay. All right. So again, we'll stick around. This was a pretty short, fast kind of overview, but certainly if there's any questions, we'll entertain those, and even if questions come up later, you can certainly get in touch with Remote Learner, and we'll be happy to get back in touch with those with the answers to those questions. And all right. I'm not seeing any presentations, so we'll go ahead and just wrap up this webinar. We're going to thank you for attending, and we look forward to working with you, continue to work with you in the future on your Moodle, Azure, Microsoft Office solutions. So thank you for your time.